Hello, everyone, and welcome to HackerTV, our in house podcast for Rajasthan's biggest hackathon, AceHack. And this year, we are bringing the fourth edition of AceHack, that is AceHack 4.0. We have already launched the hackathon and announced our theme, and our theme is Cyberpunk this time, which is very interesting. So please go ahead and check that out and do stay connected with our socials to get notified when we open the registrations, which is going to be very soon. So please go ahead and follow all the necessary steps so that you don't miss out on anything for this amazing 24-hour hackathon experience where you'll not only code and build, but also innovate, elevate, and transform your levels to the next tier. I'm your host Biraj, and this is the second episode of Hacker TV. Our guest today is a cybersecurity analyst, a content creator, and speaker, and who also happens to be a hackathon winner, Miss Ayah Abdeldayem. Welcome, Miss Ayah.
Namaste, India.
Namaste.
My name is Ayah Abdeldayem, and I'm a junior at the University of Kentucky, majoring in computer science. My interest in cybersecurity grew during my internship at Lexmark, where I worked on automating security processes, and it deepened through my role at the University of Kentucky as a security analyst. These experiences exposed me to real-world security challenges and inspired me to explore how AI could enhance security solutions, especially for tasks like threat detection and automation.
Right. So, your expertise is in cybersecurity and AI. So, what really inspired you to choose that field of interest?
I've always been drawn to problem solving in cybersecurity because it has a direct impact on people's safety and their lives.
Right.
And it also adds an innovative layer that allows us to predict and mitigate threats in ways that humans can't do by themselves.
Right.
But I'm also equally interested in the risks that AI introduces, like adversarial attacks or bias models, and also to ensure that you're using it responsibly.
Right. So this question of responsibility is a big one in these days because AI is being used on a very huge scale around the globe nowadays, right? So how do you make sure that AI, while you implement AI in cybersecurity, is doing the right job and impacting our lives in the right way? How do you exactly make sure that that happens correctly?
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you're not giving AI personal information or
Right.
information that you don't want it to know or be shared. Especially for cybersecurity, you don't want to be giving it like time-sensitive information of people's logins or certain account names because it could build that all up and then it would be a threat against your organization. So you do want to be careful with the information that you do use.
Right, of course, that makes sense. So, essentially, we are going to discuss hackathons in this podcast. And since our hackathon is coming up, so I would like to hear a few tips from you for our hackers who will be coming to the hackathon. So, I want to ask you my first question, that is, how can students use AI in cybersecurity projects for hackathons? How can they build a project implementing AI in their cybersecurity project in the hackathon?
A few ways that like students can use AI is one to detect phishing emails using natural language processing, which is what I did in the hackathon that I won. Build machine learning modules like intrusion detection systems, automate malware classifications or vulnerability assessments. They could also create AI chatbots to educate users about cybersecurity.
Right.
But when you're incorporating these, make sure you're using your tools responsibly and you're using it against risks like adversarial manipulation.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So there are a lot of challenges while using AI and cybersecurity together, I'm sure. So I'm sure you have seen firsthand that how people suffer from these challenges. So what challenges do students face typically when using AI and cybersecurity in hackathons?
So a few ways that students may face challenges are time constraints. You
Yeah.
do have limited time during a hackathon, and it does take time to train and test your AI models before you do use them.
Yeah.
Also, data quality issues. So biased or insufficient data may lead to flawed models, and security vulnerabilities, like we talked about, like using purely secured APIs or adversarial attacks on models. Also, you want to make sure that you're balancing the AI's capabilities with ethical and privacy concerns, so you're not asking it to do something that isn't ethical.
Right. That should be one of the priorities that people should keep in their mind. And I'm sure there are a lot of tools out there that would help students to implement AI in their cybersecurity projects. What tools would you recommend for students to learn to combine AI and cybersecurity in a hackathon project?
A few AI tools that you could use for hackathon is TensorFlow, PyTorch, or Hugging Face for building your models.
Right.
For cybersecurity tools, you may want to use Splunk, Microsoft if you have access to it, Wireshark, or Metasploit. Those are all data analytic platforms to
Right.
integrate security functions.
Yeah.
A few data security tools you could use are vaults like HashiCorp Vault to store sensitive data. That way you're not giving AI sensitive data and it encrypts all of your data. And then frameworks like OpenAI, APIs with built-in security features for natural language learning tasks.
Right. So a lot of time, the students in a hackathon faces an issue where when it comes to testing and deploying the AI security tools, right? So how can a participant in a hackathon do that more efficiently? That is, how can he efficiently test and deploy an AI security tool quickly during a hackathon?
So it does take time to secure and deploy an AI security tool. So a few ways that you could be able to do that is using a pre-trained model, so that way you're not having to train it yourself and it's already been tested. That
Right.
saves your time and resources.
Right.
You can also deploy projects on secure cloud platforms like AWS or Azure,
Mhm.
because those already have encryption enabled, so you don't have to worry about using data encryption policies. You could also use containerization tools like Docker for secure and isolated testing environments, and also make sure you're validating your deployment with security scans to avoid introducing any new risks.
Right, that makes sense. So, as a hackathon winner yourself, I'm sure you have seen quite a few projects in this field of yours. So, can you share an example of such a hackathon project that has used AI and cybersecurity?
Yeah, so in my most recent hackathon that I participated in, Audrey Chen's on LinkedIn, I was able to build an AI-powered phishing detection tool. It used NLP to classify the emails if they were legitimate or if they were phishing. I
Hmm.
also used data policy by anonymizing the training data, and I tested the model against adversarial inputs to improve its resilience. The project highlighted the importance of securing AI in the model and its deployment. Another way that I use AI during my hackathon that helped me with my project is I was introduced into an AI bot called Nosu AI, and it was
Right.
developed by founders Audrey Chen and Aidan Gowan. And this tool helped me refine my idea to the hackathon project, because it allows you to just put in your idea for the hackathon and it'll tell you what to fix or any ideas that have been previous winners in the past. So it's helpful to kind of refine your ideas and know what you need to focus on for hackathons.
Right. So, I'm sure in all your years of experience, you have seen plenty of these kind of projects. So, I'm going to assume that you also have seen a lot of common mistakes that students make in hackathons. So, could you share some of the common mistakes that people make in AI and cybersecurity projects in hackathons?
Yeah. One of the main mistakes that I see a lot is ignoring security of AI models.
Right.
Students often overlook the securing models against adversarial attacks, so they're mainly just focusing on using AI to finish their hackathon project, but not focusing on the security of them.
Right.
Also, for data practices, so using biased or unsecured data sets can also lead to privacy violations or flawed results. For example, using a non-public data set online from a hospital into your AI
Right.
well, maybe unethical and flawed. Overcomplicating solutions, like trying to integrate too many features instead of focusing on one single problem. And then also, lastly, lack of usability. So you're failing to ensure that your tool is user friendly or deployable. So you haven't tested it, you're just using it to make sure it works for the hackathon.
Right. So, I'm sure that implementing cybersecurity and AI tools together might be very time consuming, especially when it comes to a hackathon where you have a lot of time constraints, right? So, how can someone save time while building an AI and implementing it into their cybersecurity project in a hackathon?
So again, you want to work on focusing on pre-trained models that are already been tested,
Right.
um, and adapt them to specific projects so you can use those specific API keys and use them in your project. Also, you want to be focusing on a single well-defined problem. You want to be securely using open source libraries and data sets to avoid wasting time on basic implementations, and make sure that you're assigning specific roles within the team for parallel work.
Right. So, you have been a part of multiple hackathons, I'm going to assume, right? You have participated in a lot of hackathons. So, how successfully have you seen students making an AI model and implementing it to their cybersecurity projects? Because I personally have not seen that in person in my experience in hackathons, but I'm sure you have seen a quite few. So, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, some advice that I have is start small. So you want to pick a clear, manageable problem and build a functional prototype. You also want to make sure that you're securing everything from your AI model to your API keys and prioritize security in your design. Also, collaborate effectively. So you want to have good communication so that can make a huge difference in your time limited events as you can split up the work evenly. Also, test thoroughly, so validate both your model's accuracy and its resilience against multiple scenarios. And
Right.
also plan your presentation. So judges value a clear expectation of both functionality and security precautions. So you want to make sure that you're able to explain how you integrated AI into your project.
Right. So one more question I have in my mind is that a lot of times people can't really explain their projects when it comes to the mentoring and judging sessions in a hackathon, and this is essentially because of the lack of understanding of the basic concepts, right? So, being a hackathon winner yourself, what advice would you like to give to the coming generation of hackers to successfully explain a project so that it it just gets enhanced even more?
So I'd recommend collaborating with your team members and going through each step of the project that you went. Also documenting everything that you do throughout the project.
Right.
So every day that you work on it or every hour that you work on it, you want to be writing down what you're working on. And then you want to collaborate that with your team. And at the ending, everyone should practice out loud to each other. So that way you have a full understanding of what the entire project does. And then
Right.
that way you're able to explain it effectively.
Right. So, finally, I would like to ask you for one last advice for our hackers. Our hackathon is coming up very soon, and it is going to be a 24-hour hackathon. So, to all the hackers, what would be your advice, your one piece of advice to all the hackers that are coming for our hackathon to successfully, enjoy the hackathon properly and get the full experience, and while also building a successful project?
I'd say honestly, don't stress out. I know going into the hackathon, everything seems like it's very time constrained and limited, but just calming down. That way, you're having a clear mind and you're able to think about things.
Yeah.
Make sure you go in thinking of a project idea so that way you're not wasting time thinking of a project idea during the hackathon. And then also just make sure you're like enjoying it and having fun with your teammates because it's stressful at times, but it is important to have fun.
Yeah, that's a wonderful advice. So I'm sure whatever you shared with us today are your wonderful insights on cybersecurity as well as AI and hackathons as well. I'm sure our hackers are going to put all of it into good use in the 24 hours of our hackathon. So thank you so much, Miss Aya. It was wonderful hosting you, and it was just a pleasure having you with us in this podcast. So thank you very much for taking out your time. And thank you everyone for watching this episode of Hacker TV. We will see you on the next episode. Until then, stay tuned, stay connected, and keep hacking. Bye.
Thank you.